Sacrilege! Nissan dares to say that this vehicle here is better and sportier, at least in one aspect, than the Nissan GT-R. What do they mean by that? Can this actually be true? And how good in general is the Nissan Ariya Nismo, the sporty version of their compact or mid-size EV? Can it even challenge the Tesla Model Y all-wheel drive or even the performance model? We're going to find out here together. Thomas and Autogefuehl in 4K, full screen, full length. Let's go with the Nissan Ariya Nismo, and you can directly recognize it here in the front. Red contrast, big Nismo lettering, and the whole lower spoiler is larger. So they worked on the aerodynamics also here at the side, how the air is being channeled to the wheel arches. But aerodynamics here do not mean more efficiency. It rather means more downforce. So the car is gluing to the road. And we'll see if that works here when we later drive it. So very interesting, and also soon more about the efficiency you basically lose. Another thing is here wider tires. We have here the Michelin Pilot Sport EV, 20-inch wheels, special wheel design as well, supposed to resemble like the inside of a motor as well. Very interesting. Yeah, and these tires, when they are wider, they have more grip. At the same time, of course, it's less efficient. Then you have the red contrasts here, also in the lower part, to this stealth gray, by the way. And I also try to mix some stealth gray with my clothes today because it's a bluish gray, so to speak. And then this typical Ariya shape with a contrast black roof. The length at 4,66 m or 183 inches. Wheelbase, of course, not changed, but the overhang is a little bit longer because of these extra spoilers. Acceleration figure is 5 seconds to 1 km/h. 62 miles an hour. It's 5.7 seconds for the normal all-wheel drive version, because this one here also in this version, one electric motor in the rear, one electric motor in the front, and approximately equal power distribution. 5 seconds, it's nothing where you could shock someone today in the EV world. Even the normal Tesla Model Y all-wheel drive model is quicker in the acceleration then. But here, of course, they also go for driving dynamics and so on. And you can see these large spoilers here and here that create even more downforce. And the rear design, also really large lower graphic here in black. And well, I mean, this is here all the way closed. It's more a design thing, but definitely signalized like this racing heritage and so on. More red contrast. I already activated here the turning indicators or hazard lights. Slim integration here with a daytime running light in the rear as well. Another brake light, of course, here on the top. And even more interesting is here down below. You can already see it here, and I'm go to the front and activate now, because this is the rear fog lamp. And they have inspired that by Formula E. We'll see what I mean. Top speed, by the way, is 200 km/h, 125 miles an hour. And here we go. So this is then the rear fog lamp. This looks very spectacular, right? So maybe some will use that even when it's not allowed, right? As for the turning indicators here, very wide in the front, replace the daytime running light. So this is a very unique signature, definitely. The Ariya Nismo only uses the bigger battery that is available for this model here, means 87 kWh net. And later on in the review, we'll also drive this one and see about the efficiency and real-world range. The thing is that on the official WLTP driving cycle, this one has 100 kilometers or 60 miles less of official range, because wider tires and the aerodynamic changes, more downforce, less efficient. That's the thing. Just so I mean, it is something for performance definitely, but we'll see what concise range we can still get out of this one later on. About recharging, you have the charging flap here in the front right passenger side. These passenger side from like left-hand drive perspective. AC charging 22 kilowatt standard, that's cool. DC charging is only 130 kilowatt peak, but the charging curve isn't too bad. So you can score like 29 minutes from 10 to 80% state of charge. And should you wonder if there is a frunk or not, nah, there is none. And now you might ask yourself, so which sporty aspect is supposed to be better than with the Nissan GT-R? And Nissan says it's the lateral acceleration. So the thing like when you accelerate out of the corner. And I mean, you have all-wheel drive here as well, but then with the equal distribution, you have a lot of grip. You have, of course, a lot of weight that is also pushing the car on the ground. You have a lot of downforce as well. You have like an equal weight balance and so on. So a lot of things that can actually achieve that. But we're going to find out how we feel, how good the lateral acceleration is in the driving part. Now to the interior with the key fob is slim, light, but good quality. I really like it. Then the door closing sound. It's actually quite okay. Also in the rear, yeah, not the best, but definitely not the worst. And what's actually cool, look at that lower part here, how low it goes here, and that means also here with the
Sorry.
here with the rubber seal, so the inside of the door will then every time stay clean. Oh, the door doesn't open that wide actually, but here then nice covering on the top part, leather red, then microfiber here for the Nismo with the red contrast stitching. Just the lower part here is not covered, and that's the thing here when the sunglass covers, yeah, but we have that with the German premium manufacturers as well, so I'm always complaining about that actually. So E-Force entry badge here for the all-wheel drive version, Ariya badge, and yeah, but I wonder, it should be a Nismo badge, right? Yeah, but you have some Nismo elements here. Red contrast here at the air vents. You also have special instruments that have this red Nismo background, for example. Also then here red contrast stitching on the inside of the steering wheel, and also here the 12 o'clock marking. So it's actually very nice. Also the buttons on the steering wheel, you have a real scroll wheel and real buttons to change through the digital instruments and so on. And the seats are of course the highlights. The Nismo seats, a mix of leatherette and microfiber, and also here the different red color shines through from the background perforation. So it's really, really nicely done. They're also electric, so you get almost a full package here with the Nismo version. And the interesting thing is that the seats are pretty high already, which is probably because of that sandwich platform. And so this is the lowest position for me with 189 6'2". It is still no problem. As for the headroom, there's still enough left. Yeah, when I put down the sun visor here, the sun blind, then you can see I can see nothing anymore. So this is not possible for me. So this way, you know. But there you can see like the with the height of the seat and so on. So this is interesting, but still it's still comfortable. I'm more, as a tall person, have a problem with the left side here. So this is too short for my giant feet actually, because like in the top part this should be a little bit longer. Yeah, that's one thing. And also my right knee is prone to be really close and hitting the middle console there. So these are more the tall person problems here. Welcome to this cockpit. Looks really cool visually here with a lot of big microfiber here, and then the contrast stitching, the red Nismo strip goes all the way across. Then manual, still the volume control, it's really large, I like that. Interesting is that the climate unit here, it is inside this wooden style, and this feels nice, looks nice. And in here you don't have to press that hard. It also works just with a very slight press actually. That's good to control it while driving. Let's say it's maybe better than only in touchscreen, but there are better haptical solutions. Let's take it that way. The AC unit, by the way, itself is pretty loud, even at level 1. Some do like that, some not. I always prefer when it's a little bit more subtle. And then here you also have the drive mode control and the E-pedal, so where you can change between one pedal driving and not. And this has to be pressed firmer, and to find this one and correctly press that while driving is not that easy. Let's take it that way. The E-pedal, by the way, is it? Yes, you don't need the brake pedal in most times then, but is it in one pedal driving feeling in the sense of the car comes to a stop or not? No. So the car is rolling, you know, it's creeping basically, and then the E-pedal doesn't stop the vehicle. So it's not 100% one pedal driving, but let's say like 90%, something like that. The screens here, by the way, are also nicely integrated, so I feel it's a good solution they found there. Soon to come into the software and so on, but I think they found a very unique approach with interesting materials, also different solutions here and there, so definitely found their own style. And the Nismo version is here, another badge, and then also the start-stop button is in red. And Leah is showing us the storage compartments. First of all, what's interesting here, there is a normal glove box right here. And then there is a second central glove box, and this one is manual in the Nismo version. You maybe remember it's otherwise this electric cubbyhole, which is kind of strange, but also unique. But here, for weight savings, only manual, and also this whole middle console that you see there cannot be moved backward or forward. There is the electric option in the normal Ariya, but here in the Nismo version, also weight savings, and also here about the roof. It has a nice cover from the inside, yes, but there's no glass roof available, once again also due to the weight savings and so on. Yeah, and then in the lower part then here, there's some charging, USB-A or USB-C charging, both is possible. And then you can put your smartphone right there. Yeah, it's maybe not the most practical solution. Yeah, but the other solution is only with the inductive charging. That's underneath here. So that would be the other alternative.
But it overheats.
Yeah, but it always overheats. At least the iPhones when they're just like a couple of minutes in there. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, maybe.
That's like a.
Oh, and a cute flower here.
Oh, some flowers on there. But this like yeah, you can take it out to cleans. Probably like here as a cover here. Driver POV here, really nice to control here everything with a scroll wheel, for example. Then you can control the digital instruments, and they are good to read actually, but yeah, from the whole styling, of course, it looks a little bit outdated, honestly. And then you also have a specific Nismo styling here. You also have a head-up display and the central screen. Yeah, I mean the Nissan software itself. Whew, yeah, I would say the 90s have called. Can't present that in a today's car. Like with, it's also really slow. Luckily, most time you use only Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and there the integration is fine. Yeah, that's probably the thing then you should use and forget about the rest of the infotainment. What about the rear? First of all here, the rear doors are also covered with nice leatherette here on the top. Then the microfiber here with the red Nismo stitching. So nice solutions here. They're just not covered here at the inside of the doors. But there are more nice solutions to follow here. For example, the back part of the seats here is not just a plain black plastic, but it's, let's say, fabricized, so to speak. So that's a nice thing. Also felt in the lower part, then the microfiber also for the rear seats.
The entry badge.
Oh yeah, entry badge for like this sill badge for the rear, also cool. And here the Isofix on the outside, you have a nice zipper here to, you know, to access it or not. So that's also a nice solution. Here the cup holders, well, yeah, that maybe should be a little bit better that it doesn't fall down like that. Also not adaptive here, but at least to have something. And then two USB-C chargers, again then with this, you know, wooden atmosphere here, that's pretty cool. And you see here everything is free then also in the middle part, so nice to move around. And seating wise, it's very interesting. So we said that the front seats feel really high, but the rear bench feels even higher, so I'm with my knees already at the shoulder area of the front seats. That's very interesting, but there's still enough legroom left and also enough headroom, so there's plenty of space here and it's actually fairly comfortable. And in the middle part you can also sit, so yeah, it's easily suitable for 5 tall adults. And I mean, when kids are in the rear, it's also a good thing when the seats are a little bit higher actually. And to mention for the rear bench here, you can also change the inclination a little bit, like at least like in these, yes, yeah, this or that, so two steps actually. Let's check out the trunk or the boot. 450 liters. That's the same than with the normal all-wheel drive version. Just if you have front-wheel drive, then you have a little bit more capacity here under the boot cover. Here it's like a little bit more than 1 meter or 40 inches in normal width, even between the wheel arches, and the normal length is also about 1 meter or 40 inches, so that's fine. And under the cover here we have about 40 centimeters or 16 inches, even more of course to the top. And here the cabin trolley also fits in vertically. Does it? Wait a minute. That should work, right? That under the cover as well. Yeah, it does. No problem for that. Then you have seen there's even more space underneath. Let's check that out. So for the cable, because we have no frunk here, so yeah, this is enough for a cable. You see the subwoofer, because in Nismo version the extended sound system is also standard. And here, yeah, maybe like for the tire kit and so on. As I said, with the four-wheel version, there's a little bit more space here. And then the total length to the front seats, there we go, it's about 190 or 74 inches. Nismo mode. That was 30 to 120 kilometers an hour. Oh, really quite nice.
Wow, that bump was hard.
That bump, though, while accelerating, that was quite harsh indeed. Yeah, there you already feel the stiffer setup. We can directly test something of the handling. They also changed how the steering feels, actually. Suspension stiffer, we already feel that. 20-inch wheels mounted here, so that also makes the riding definitely stiffer. But it feels really nice in the corners, I can tell you so far. This additional downforce, of course, that's something you only feel when you drive at higher speeds. That's nothing you would feel now here at lower speeds. What you already feel here is the wider tires, and that these wider tires have more grip. So just glues to the road, actually. I found the steering setup, however, too soft, honestly, and I would have expected that in the Nismo mode especially, you have a little bit more resistance. You know, that would have been more a racing style. What is racing style? It's definitely that you have here the 12 o'clock marking, so you exactly know when the tires are actually straight, taking from motorsports, and Nismo has of course been really big in motorsports, a lot of investment there. Of course, nowadays you have to ask yourself if it's still worth it to invest in motorsports. If you think like more cars are being sold, if you're successful in motorsports, that's also a big discussion at a lot of manufacturers at this moment, and that's why some manufacturers have also cancelled their motorsport activities. Then again, others go back to motorsports. Yeah, it's always back and forth, definitely. And now some French motorway here, and let's just like this intermediate acceleration. So let's just do some 70 to 90. And that's already, yeah, I mean, that goes really quick. That's pretty cool. Then from 0, it's like this 5 seconds, 0 to 100 kilometers an hour. Yeah, again, we told you that before. A standard all-wheel drive Tesla Model Y is already quicker in that acceleration. So with 5 seconds nowadays in the EV segment, you cannot shock anyone, you know, but it's still good in the performance, and almost a little bit less than a second quicker than the normal all-wheel drive version here. So they really got some more power out of these motors, and you definitely do feel that. Here when the road is even, then it's actually fine as for suspension. So it's just when there are some potholes and so on. So this stiffer setup with the 20-inch wheels and the sport tires, it's really nice when everything's even and flat and so on.
Very silent. Yeah.
And
I
very
like
silent.
That,
Yeah. Leah is always checking if the cars are soundproof, and we have dual lamination of the windows. Also the front windshield is especially insulated, and you do feel it's really silent. So, I mean, it's quite rough tarmac here at this moment, what we have, and still very silent, and also from the wind noise, also the cars passing us and so on. So really nice and silent atmosphere that will be good for longer journeys and so on. Yeah, and talking about longer journeys, when we finish our extensive driving part here today, then we'll also keep you updated with the consumption and the concise range, because also told you that before, you will have less range here in the Nismo version, because more downforce means you also lose efficiency. That's definitely clear. And yeah, 100 kilometers or 600 miles of WLTP official driving cycle loss in the range, that's much. It's definitely much. Yeah, so it's nothing that you would say, hey, I want that for the best range efficiency. The Nismo is a compromise because you get more sportiness on the cost of efficiency, but it also shows you these goal conflicts the engineers have, and it's no wonder that it's the way it is. But then again, with this more downforce, of course, you have much more control at higher speeds for this vehicle here. And yeah, so far on the motorway, does it well. Seats are also comfortable enough. We're both sitting really high in the car. You maybe even see that on camera. Let's do some lane change here. Yeah, suspension, the car is not leaning at all, so it's behaving very well. The only thing here, like steering input, especially a little bit loose here. Yeah, so that could have been better, I feel, so that you have a more natural feeling for the steering. What you can also easily deactivate is this speed chime. So just press this button here with the left thumb, and then drive assist custom. And I've set it before that drive assist custom for me is that I don't have these beeping chimes when I exceed the speed limit by 1 kilometer. And then it's fine. So easily deactivated that one as well. Now we can also drive 110 kilometers an hour, and it's still perfectly silent here, really nice. And switching between the driving modes, by the way, yeah, you always have to find that one on the console here. I can also go back to the standard if I don't want like the best sporty acceleration. And even sound-wise, right? Did you also hear that? So when I'm from the standard in the Nismo mode,
Yeah, good sound, yeah. Yeah.
it gives like, what the hell? It's like a little bit like, I'm not sure if you can really pick that up on the, like I really like almost like from a combustion engine a little bit. Yeah, but yeah, I mean it is an artificial sound, you know. So that is
like a little fly.
a little fly, yeah, yeah. But I mean that's something like when you go like winding corners and stuff. We can maybe test that soon in these winding corners, that you have a little bit more sensation of speed, know what you're doing. And small remark to the cruise control here. 2 clicks on the right side of the steering wheel, you can set the speed. This is being kept to the car in front of us, and it's also available here with the active lane keeping assist. So here at the moment I'm doing nothing. Of course you're supposed to keep your hands on the steering wheel, but considering the motorway here does some left and right, I think the car is handling that very well. So I'm not actively steering myself at the moment. Car is doing that, so the level 2 assistance systems make a very good impression. So very nice to have that one. The only thing I'm feeling right now, if I'm trying to relax a little bit more, maybe also rest my elbows, here on the right side, it's okay. I could be maybe a little bit softer here from the cushioning, but the bigger problem is for the left elbow. If I'm going to relax right now, yeah, that's too low. So I don't know, unless you have like a 2-meter long elbow or something like that. Yeah, but it's just too low. You have the impression that, oh, the seats are extremely high because of that sandwich EV platform, but then they took a door from a combustion engine. That's, you know, like the impression here, because it's just too low, you know, then your elbow falls down. And if you think about, I have the seat in the lowest position, and someone that's maybe not as tall as me maybe puts the seat a little bit higher, then the elbow is lost even more. So that's a small thing, maybe. Other than that, very cool ride here also on the motorway, and now we're meanwhile driving 110 kilometers an hour, like between 60 and 70 miles per hour. It's really nice ride, very silent here. So the noise insulation is one of the best here in the vehicle, one of the best features this car has to offer. But even more important is now when we switch from the motorway to the fun winding roads. And now everyone hold tight, including Leah. She has the handles here.
Yay!
Yeah, that's very important for her, because now we start the winding corners, of course starting also with another acceleration in the Nismo mode. Let's see, is it really that good in the lateral acceleration, or even better than the Nissan GT-R in that aspect? Let's find out. Oh, that's nice. Ooh, that's really pretty cool in the lateral acceleration. So
now the sound is cool.
Yeah, now the sound is helping us a little bit actually, and you can really get out of the corners very nicely. That's pretty cool. Yeah, as I said, the steering could be giving us a little bit more feedback, but it's still nice to control. That's actually fine, and the car is following the road in a very nice way. Of course, when you're getting in very tight corners, you cannot deny the weight of an electric vehicle. That's always the case. It's still over 2 tons, you know, and that's not good like for Agile sports cars or something like that. But really good in directing the car into the corner. And yeah, especially this getting out of the corner is indeed excellent. You have the overdrive distribution, which is pretty much even, you know, between front and rear. They say in certain situations you can also send more torque to the rear, but yeah, that always depends on the situations. Most situations will be more even out, but that also pulls the car out of the corner pretty much. Yeah, so the driving agility is pretty cool. The microfiber material also doesn't let us slide too much on the seat, so it's also a good choice here for the sporty vehicle. At the same time, at these speeds, it's also silent. Yeah, here, situations like these, then you feel you're not driving like a lightweight, small sports car, but a heavy EV. You're still feeling that, definitely, you know. So, yeah, when they say that with the GT-R, with the lateral acceleration, yeah, that's the one thing I can feel. I can understand that. But of course, it's not a real replacement for a GT-R or something. And then the bump here, yeah, you do feel that. The silver suspension setup, good for sporty driving, not so good for comfort. And indeed, it is like with many performance EVs, so also like, let's say, like a Porsche Macan EV or whatever, a Tesla Model Y, all-wheel drive or performance, great in acceleration. Then the lateral acceleration is also cool, good grip here, also great grip from these tires here. So these wider tires help you pretty much, and accelerating out is a lot of fun. Yeah, but you cannot really deny the weight that is pushing you in the corners. And just looking at the face color of Leah, how are you feeling? Not so well. Yeah, and that's the thing.
Weight is,
yeah. So
heavier. You feel that.
And that's the thing, you know. So when we're driving in lighter sports cars, Leah is screaming out of fun, and here she's more like, okay, I'll endure this just for all the viewers as well, and and that's it. So as a driver, it's fun, yeah, but as a passenger, of course, that weight thing, does get on your nerves after a while. And that's just a natural thing when so much weight is being moved. But I gotta say, you have to compare it to other EVs. And when you compare it to other performance EVs, yes, there might be some lacking in acceleration numbers or something like that. But here now at 80 kilometers an hour, also some of the aerodynamic effects taking effect like at some point. I mean, we're more, of course, when we're driving even faster. But indeed, I have to say, it really glues to the road, so that is really, really well done. So definitely feel that it could max out the sportiness of this EV here. Even more best greetings from Leah at this point, and about the consumption or economy. So we scored today here almost 300 kilometers we've been driving, and result is 20 kilowatt hours on 100 kilometers, a mix of motorway and also mountain roads up and down. Same way this way, same way back again, so we have like an even topography. So this 20 kilowatt hours on 100 kilometers is about 3 miles per kilowatt hour, and with this 87 kilowatt hour net battery, this would result into 440 kilometers or 265 miles of real world range. Realistic result, and actually better than expected in a way of, I would have expected that the less efficient Nismo version is also less efficient really in real life, and also lower range and so on. Not sure what's beeping there. Parking sensor or something probably. Yeah, parking sensor. But the thing is that these range losses are obviously not as big as the papers, as the WLTP figure says. But in general, the Nissan Ariya is not as efficient as some competitors. So it's not the most efficient vehicle here in that segment. That's still the case. Pricing, if you just look at the Nismo features, you pay about 3,500 euros extra in comparison to the normal all-wheel drive model. Then again, you do lose some features, like there's no glass roof, there's no slidable middle console, there's no electric opening of that middle storage bin and so on. Some say that's not a negative, some say that's a negative. That's point of perspective. And overall then 64,000 euros would, for example, be a German price. Yeah, and then of course you start thinking that for a lot of the competitors you do pay actually less. So you really have to like this Nismo approach, also like this, this heritage of the whole racing thing. It drives very well, definitely. Always, of course, the thing is with the electric vehicles, they are really heavy, and at some point they do push you in the corners, but they really brought out as much racing factor as they could here from this platform here, from this compact or mid-size EV. So it's really, really nice to drive. Also has some good space, usable space on the interior. And this version here makes it, of course, even more unique. If you think about range and price performance, then of course the normal all-wheel drive model or even the front-wheel drive biggest battery will be, let's say, the most clever choice with the Ariya here. And we also have a normal review, even with the comparison to the Ioniq 5 for you.